Hi everyone, welcome to Impact Academy. So today let us continue with Indian polity, the parliament. So the parliament and the state legislature, these are very lengthy topics and they are very important also because a lot of information will be there. So let us make it in a couple of videos, okay? So the Parliament of India consists of President, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, okay, as per Article 79. So this is very important because frequently questions are asked based on this. So 79 also let us quickly see what is 79 Constitution of the Parliament. Okay, Article 79 deals with the Constitution of Parliament. So all these things will come okay as we go on. Chairman and Deputy Chairman of Council of States 89. Okay, all these things. So let us see. So the President is a part of the Parliament. Okay, so Parliament means three things that are there. That is one is President, Lok Sabha, and Rajya Sabha. But the President is not a member of any house. Okay, the president is not the member of Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, but the president is part of the parliament. Okay, remember that it's very important because frequently questions are asked that the president is not part of the parliament. Okay, or the president has to belong to one of the house. Okay, all those things are wrong. So the president is a part of the legislature, even though he or she does not sit in the parliament. Okay, very important. He does not sit in the parliament, but is part of the legislature. The main functions of parliament are providing the cabinet, control of the cabinet, criticism of the cabinet, and of individual minister. Parliament secures the information authoritatively. That is legislation. That is making laws. This is the most important. Okay, to make laws. Article 107, 108, and 245. So let us quickly see what is 107, 108. So 107 is provisions as to introduction and passing of bills, and 108 is joint sitting of both houses in certain cases. Okay, only in certain cases we have joint sitting. So we've already seen in amendment of the constitution there is no provision for joint sitting. So this money bills 110 is also very important. Article 110 okay is definition of money bills, that's also very important. And 107 is provisions as to introduction of passing of bills. So parliament is where the bills are introduced and passed, right? So it's very important. So financial control, bill passed by the House of Parliament cannot become law without the President assent. Okay. So and we have already seen about the President, right? He can give assent, withhold assent, or return the bill, or pocket veto, absolute veto, suspensive veto. All those things we have seen. So Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha. The Rajya Sabha is composed of not more than 250 members, of whom 12 are nominated by the President. Okay, 12 are nominated by the president, and these nominated people do not vote in the election of the president. Keep that in mind. In the election of the president, it is only the elected members, but in the election of vice president, all the members of the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha will vote. Okay, but in the election of the president, elected members only of the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, assemblies, and the union territories also, all the elected members vote. But in the impeachment of the president, only the members of the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha will vote. Okay, or specifically in whichever house, either Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, that particular bill is passed, there only they will vote. So the 12 nominated members are chosen by the president among persons specialized in science, art, okay, literature, and social service. Science, art, literature, and social service. 12 people are nominated by the president. So representatives of each state are elected by the elected members of the Legislative Assembly of the state in accordance with the system of proportional representation by means of single transferable vote. So we are talking about representation of each state, and they are elected by the elected members of the Legislative Assembly. Okay. So prescribed composition of the Lok Sabha is not more than 530 representatives of the states, not more than 20 representatives of union territories, not more than 2 of the Anglo-Indian community. Okay, so the composition of the Lok Sabha is 530 plus 20 plus 2, right? So how much is become 530? Okay, 550, 552. Okay, it should not be more than 552, and 530 from the states, 20 from the UTs, and 2 from the Anglo-Indian community. Okay, the Lok Sabha at present consists of 543 members. 530 members are directly elected from the states and 13 from the UTs. Okay, this one check for any latest update, but it should not cross 552. Now it is 543, which is reasonable. Okay, and this we are talking about 530 from states and 13 from UTs. So if we consider these two members of the Anglo-Indian communities, it will become 545. Okay. So Lok Sabha currently has 545, you can say, and it should not cross 552. Keep all these things in mind. The representatives of the states are directly elected by the people of the states on the basis of adult suffrage. That is, every citizen who is not less than 18 years of age is otherwise not qualified, not disqualified, is not otherwise disqualified, and is entitled to vote in such election. So Article 326 again is very very important. So right now we have elections, so anything related to election commission becomes very important. So 324, okay, 324 is about election commission, right? Article 324 is about the superintendence, direction and control of elections to be vested in an election commission. So 326 is elections to the House of People and to the legislative assemblies on the basis of adult suffrage. So Article 326 is talking about adult suffrage, that is above 18 years. So 324 and 326, try to remember, there is no reservation for any minority community other than the scheduled castes and the scheduled tribes. So Article 330, 341 and 342. Okay, so there is no reservation for any minority community. Only scheduled caste and scheduled tribes has the reservation. The Council of State is not subject to dissolution. Okay, it's a permanent body. The Council of State means Rajya Sabha. Okay, the Council of State, which is popularly known as the Rajya Sabha, is not subject to dissolution. So the Lok Sabha, after 5 years, once the term is over, it gets dissolved, right? Again, you have to go to election, and a new body has to be, I mean, a new Lok Sabha has to be constituted. But the Rajya Sabha is a continuous body. It is not subject to dissolution. It's a permanent body. Only one third of its member retire on expiration of every second year. This is very important. Okay, every second year, one third of its members retire, and they are eligible for re-election also. The normal term of Lok Sabha is 5 years, but it may be dissolved earlier. So the Lok Sabha does not have a fixed term. It is as per the confidence of the House and the pleasure of the President. So the normal term of Lok Sabha can be extended by an act passed by Parliament itself during emergency. Okay, so it can be extended beyond 5 years also. And in 42nd Amendment Act, they have made it into 6 years. Again, in 44th Amendment Act, they have nullified it and brought it back to 5 years. The extension cannot be made for a period extending 1 year at a time. So even during emergency, it has to be extended only for 1 year at a time. And such extension cannot continue beyond a period of 6 months after the proclamation of emergency ceases to operate. So if you are continuously extending this emergency by 1 year at a time, it is fine. Once the emergency ceases to exist, beyond a period of 6 months, it should not continue. Okay, beyond that, the elections has to be conducted. So Parliament must meet at least twice a year, and not more than 6 months shall pass elapse between two sessions of Parliament. So in a year we have 12 months, right? So that is why we have two sessions. Okay, usually we have two sessions of the Parliament, because more than 6 months shall not elapse between two sessions of Parliament. So and it meets twice a year. A session is the period of time between the first meeting of the Parliament and the prorogation of the Parliament. So the period between prorogation of Parliament and its reassembly in a new session is called the recess. Within a session, there are a number of daily sittings separated by adjournments, which postpone the further consideration of the business for a specified time. So prorogation means that particular period is over. That session, okay, is completely over. Adjournment is that particular sitting. Okay, so on a daily basis, you have adjournments, and a prorogation is after the completion of that particular session, complete session. The sitting of a house can be terminated by dissolution, prorogation, or adjournment. So while the powers of dissolution and prorogation are exercised by the President on the advice of the Council of the Ministers, power to adjourn the daily sittings of the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha belongs to the Speaker and the Chairman. That is Daily basis, the adjournment. Okay, so today if the parliament is session, once the session is over, it is adjourned for the day. That power is in the hands of speaker and chairman, and the whole session, the whole winter session or the summer session, that is prorogation, that is exercised by the president. Okay, so president calls for the session of the parliament or the assembly, and he is the one who prorogates it. So a dissolution brings Lok Sabha to an end so that there must be a fresh election, while prorogation merely terminates the session. Okay, so dissolution of the Lok Sabha means there is a complete end. So there must be fresh elections again, and a new Lok Sabha is formed. But prorogation means only that particular session is terminated. So adjournment does not put an end to the session of the parliament, but merely postpones the further transaction of a business for a specified time. It may be number of hours, days, or weeks. Okay, so try to understand the difference these way. So adjournment is it happens on a daily basis. Every now and then it is adjourned, and it is prorogued. Prorogued after that particular session, that summer session or winter session is over. Every year it is prorogued, and once the whole term of Lok Sabha, that 5 years or maybe 2 years, 3 years, when the confidence is not there anymore, no confidence motion has been passed or something. So then the Lok Sabha is dissolved. Okay, when dissolution happens, then there must be fresh elections again. That particular Lok Sabha is over. So on dissolution of the Lok Sabha, all matters pending before the House lapse. So if there is a particular bill which is in progress, those bills will lapse. If these matters have to be pursued, they must be reintroduced in the next House after fresh election. So all these are questions, okay? Questions will be frequently asked on these things. But a bill pending in the Rajya Sabha which has not yet been passed by the Lok Sabha shall not lapse on dissolution, because Rajya Sabha is a permanent body. So observe this, a bill which is pending in the Rajya Sabha but is not yet been passed by the Lok Sabha. So it doesn't matter, because uh, when even after dissolution, when a new Lok Sabha comes, that Lok Sabha can take up the bill because it is not yet taken up. And Rajya Sabha is a permanent body. So a dissolution does not affect the joint sitting of the two houses. If the president has notified his intention to hold a joint sitting before the dissolution, Article 108. Okay. So adjournment has no such effect on pending business. Qualifications for becoming a member of parliament are: he must be a citizen of India, must not be less than 25 years of age. So we have seen for the prime minister, chief minister, governor, and all. It is not for we have seen for governors and prime minister, president. Okay, not chief minister and prime minister and president. Okay, the president, vice president, governors. It is 35, right? But in the case of MP and MLA, it is only 25 years of age. Okay, and 30 years in case of Rajya Sabha. So this is also very important. If you are aiming for Rajya Sabha, because it's the house of the elders, okay, and Lok Sabha is the house of the people. So Lok Sabha it is 25 and Rajya Sabha is 30 years. Keep it in mind. Additional qualifications may be prescribed by Parliament by law, and that is stated in Article 84. So a person can be disqualified for being a member of either House of Parliament if he holds any office of profit under the government of India. That is, he is getting some form of salary or something from the government of India, either as a permanent employee or as an advisor. Okay, he has to first come out of that, or government of any state. He is of unsound mind and stands so declared by a competent court. Okay, if he is of unsound mind, also he cannot be. He is not a citizen of India or has voluntarily acquired citizenship of a foreign state, or is under acknowledgement or allegiance or adherence to a foreign power. Okay, so he has to be citizen of India and should not have allegiance or adherence to another foreign powers. Actually, this is one of the reasons why Sonia Gandhi ji could not become prime minister. Okay, at that time, because she had a Italian passport also. He is so disqualified by or under any law made by the parliament. So, according to Article 102, so the parliament also make any law regarding disqualification for the person to become part of the parliament. In a dispute regarding the qualification of the president's decision in accordance with the opinion of the election commission is final. So this also questions are asked frequently. They say that the qualification of president is only the courts can decide. No, it is the opinion of the election commission is final. So if the election commission says that the president's election is fine, it is a final decision. And it's Article 103. Okay. So the House can declare a seat vacant if the member absents himself from all meetings of the House for a period of 60 days without prior permission. So without any permission for 60 days, if that person is absent, then he can his particular seat can be declared as vacant. Okay. So this is about Parliament. Now let us quickly see Parliament. Revise some of it. Okay. So Parliament consists of President plus Lok Sabha plus Rajya Sabha. Okay. This is frequently asked. President, Lok Sabha, and Rajya Sabha. All these three form the parliament, and President is not a part of Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. So, Indian parliamentary model is based on the British Westminster model. So, composition of Rajya Sabha, we have seen 250, maximum strength is 250, and Lok Sabha is 552. We have already seen, right? 552, 530 from the states, 20 from UTs, and 2 members from the Anglo Indian. And this is from 95th Amendment Act. Okay, this Anglo Indians was added in 95th Amendment Act. So when it comes to Lok Sabha, it is maximum strength is 250. So here it is 552. Here it is 250. 238 elected indirectly, okay, from states, and 12 are nominated by the president. Remember all these things. Fourth schedule deals with the allocation of seats in Rajya Sabha to states and duties. Okay, and Rajya Sabha members, elected members of the state legislative assembly, are represented in the Rajya Sabha by system of proportional representation on power. So who are going to vote for these Rajya Sabha members? Not the common public. Okay, they are indirectly elected by the members of the state legislative assembly. So representatives of union territories in Rajya Sabha indirectly elected by the member of electoral college with system of proportional representation. So only two UTs, Delhi and Puducherry, have representation in Rajya Sabha. So now because Jammu and Kashmir also has a is a UT and it is a elected government, maybe it also has representation in RS. Okay, president nominates 12 members to Rajya Sabha from different fields. We've seen science, art, literature, and social service. If you look at the Lok Sabha, 552, 530 from states, 20 from UT, 2 from the Anglo Indians, 95th Amendment Act, and the term Rajya Sabha is a permanent body. There is no dissolution. However, one third of the members retire every 2 years. Constitution not fixed term for Rajya Sabha. Representation of People Act 1955 mentioned 6 year term for Rajya Sabha. Lok Sabha under normal term is 5 years, but there is no fixed term for Lok Sabha. It can be dissolved anytime and can be extended 1 year at a time for national emergency, 1 year at a time for any number of times. But if the national emergency ceases to exist, then only 6 months. Within the 6 months, there has to be elections. So if you look at the disqualification of members, Constitution mentions that he should not hold office of profit. Okay, if he is not a citizen of India or he is disqualified by any law made by the Parliament. Okay, Representation of People Act 1951. So qualification of members for the Rajya Sabha is saying that you should be a citizen of India and make oath to the Election Commission. For Rajya Sabha, not less than 30 years. For Lok Sabha, not less than 25. Very important. Okay, Lok Sabha 25 years, Rajya Sabha 30 years. As per Representation of People Act 1951. So this thing where it is mentioned in Representation of People Act 1951. Person should be registered as an elector. So for Rajya Sabha, it is not necessary that that person should be elector in that particular state. So for example, if there is a what you say, Shashi Tharoor is going to Rajya Sabha from Kerala. Okay, but he need not necessarily be what you say an elector in Kerala. Okay, but he can be nominated from Kerala. So for election to Lok Sabha, a nomination can be filed by any citizen of India whose name appears in the electoral roll of constituency. So everyone who has their name in the electoral roll of a constituency can apply for Lok Sabha. Okay. So you are provided you are citizen of India, no office of profit, unsound mind, and all those things, and 25 years. So if you are 25 years, then you can apply for Lok Sabha. You can become an MP or a MLA. So and all these things, no imprisonment for 2 or more years. So recently we've seen in the case of Rahul Gandhi, okay, he was imprisoned in a case where the punishment is for more than 2 years. So he was briefly disqualified from the Lok Sabha, right? And not dismissed from any government services. Okay. So if you are dismissed from a government services, then you cannot apply for Lok Sabha. Okay. So you have to resign. That's a different thing. President's decision is final on disqualification, and president can consult with election commission. The disqualification on grounds of defection. Defection is under the 10th schedule, right? 10th schedule, 1985 is very important. Is anti-defection we've seen schedule. So, question of disqualification under the 10th schedule is decided by the chairperson of that house, that is chairman in Rajya Sabha and speaker in Lok Sabha. However, their decision is subject to judicial review. So, this is also very important. So, this anti-defection, okay, anti-defection law, who decides whether it is defection or not? In the Lok Sabha, it is speaker. That is why speaker's role is very important in the Lok Sabha. And in the Rajya Sabha, it is the chairman. And the chairman of Rajya Sabha is obviously the vice president, okay, de facto. So that is about parliament. We have seen difference between parliament, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. Okay. So in the next session, we'll continue with the speaker, deputy speaker, etc. etc. Fine.